Alright, here we are. Welcome back to the Pocket Dimension, where tonight we will be working on my Nova Wolves Custom Space Marine chapter. Some more here. So, what do we got here? Something weird going on over here. Why is... Huh. That's funny. I seem to have a lot of stuff going on here on Twitch. Very strange. Not sure what's going there. Superpay 33. Strange. Very strange. I don't know if that's... Huh. It says new. Watchek Baunde Bande. Yeah, I don't... C'est quoi c'est que fabrique par Picasso? Not sure. Picasso? Do I paint like Picasso? Nah. I mean, maybe. Casual racism versus advanced race. I have no idea. Keep pushing GT. Don't really know what's going on there. Twitch. Huh. Weird. Okay, I'm going to close that pop out. And we're going to pop out the... let's go over here. Oops. All right. Okay. Hey, Myar. Good to see you. How's everything going, Myar? Okay. Now we can put our pop-out chat in where I want it to go. It's weird. Something really weird there. And one more. Here we go. All right, here we go. Okay, as you may all know, if you're joining here for the first time, of course, you may not be joining here for the first time. We are having a fundraiser for the 988 Lifeline this month here on Twitch. So far, we've raised $25 out of the $250 goal. So this month is almost over. So if you haven't had a chance to contribute, please do so. That's about it. Tonight I'm working on my Nova Wolf Space Marines. So I'm trying to put the helmets on these dudes here. If I can find the helmet sprue. There it is. That's the Terminator sprue. Here's the helmet sprue. Good to see you, Myar. Hope you're doing alright. Thanks for joining, as usual. Good to see you in chat. Excuse me. Didn't mean to yawn, everybody. It's been a long day. So let's go ahead and start clipping these helmets out. Little cat hair. Little cat hair never hurt anybody. So let's give Let's see. Never know what to do with the unhelmeted heads, you know? Maybe I'll save them and do another unit of all unhelmeted dudes. Like, I mean, these guys are supposed to be gray hunters, right? So they're veteran guys. So they're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I've got plenty of heads. I could probably make all these guys bareheaded. I don't know. It would make them stand apart, wouldn't it? Let's do that. Let's make these guys all bareheaded. Why not? So we're just going to chop them out there. Since we're going to be using the Space Wolves Codex for these guys, I guess. And chop some more heads off here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go with something a little bit nondescript here. Let's see. That's actually, nope, he's got a breather on. Let's see, did I sneak any helmets in here at all? I don't think I did. So, let's put this guy with the breather on again. That's kind of a little bit generic. And let's do this guy. Oh, let's see. Let's do this other guy here up with the cybernetic eye. Let's do that. So if you're viewing on Rumble or viewing on YouTube, that's great. I'm glad you're there. Thanks for tuning in. But just wanted to let you know that if you hop over to Twitch real quick and come to my channel, we have got the fundraiser for 988 Lifeline, this is Suicide Prevention Month or Awareness Month. So you can make a difference, or you can help make a difference anyway, with your $5 or $6 or $35 donation, whatever you can put in. That'd be great if you could help. Because I'm running it this month, and this month is almost over, and we're only 1/10 of the way there. So alright, let's go ahead and we'll just glue these heads on as we go. Let's see, scooch these bods over so I'm not fighting against them while I build these. But these are going to count as gray hunters, so that's why I'm putting helmetless heads on them. So let's see what we got here. Let's see. I'm going to be looking generally the same direction as his blaster there. Especially since he's got a cybernetic eye. And I suppose I could paint these heads separately, but I just don't have the patience for that right now. And I'm not doing these up to a super high competitive, terrific standard. They're just going to be tabletop plus. I think tabletop plus is sort of a low level display standard, I guess. Some people get real itchy about standards and what a display model is, and I think it should be something that looks good on the table and looks good on the shelf. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say. So seems I'm down a couple of followers on Twitch. That's okay, but I'm trying to go up, not down. This guy's giving out directions. Obviously, he's got the shouty face, pointy fingers. So really, if he's got shouty face, pointy fingers, maybe his head should be pointed the other direction. But he's got his eye on the target too. He says, that way, look over there. I guess. So shouty face, pointy fingers. All right. And the rest of these guys are going to be just kind of generic-ish. So, nope. I've got all sorts of cool perks if people help get to 400 follows on Twitch. I got some cool things to give away. 500 is where we get some really cool things, but seems like Twitch is sort of going slow these days. I don't know what's going on, you know. Of course, I think people are less prone to sit and watch stuff now that they're, you know, social media sites and streaming and everything really took off big during the big sickness there, the plague. People were kind of stuck home. Now people get out and do things, which is fine. Some people are saying media creation is dead. I think it's just a matter of finding the right way to get it done. I've got several videos I need to finish up. I've got footage to edit and scripts to write, or outlines really. I don't like using scripts. I prefer an outline where I can speak a little bit more extemporaneous. You know. Extemporaneous or extemporaneously, I don't know. So, and of course, if you are watching and you want to help develop the channel, help me out, and if you don't want to subscribe on the Twitch, if you do want to subscribe on your favorite channel, feel free to. Your favorite platform, Rumble or YouTube, you're more than welcome to hit that like, share, subscribe button. Costs nothing, and it helps me. It encourages me to keep on going. Appreciate that. If you want to get a little something for your efforts, go over to w.gg and make your purchase using my discount code ROCKETFUEL, ROKKITFUEL. That's ROKKITFUEL for 10% off your purchase at w.gg. Tell you, the last week has been ridiculous. I like to have most of my stuff on my social media accounts. I pretty much have it to keep up with, say, like a lot of hobby stuff. But this week has just been awful. Nothing but current events, you know. It's been a little, it's like I can't find anything to listen to. I can't find anything to watch. My feed is just clogged with current events. Which it's important to know a lot about that stuff, but I find it to be a little bit overwhelming. And if you are overwhelmed by current events, why don't you give 988 Suicide and Crisis Hotline, Lifeline, a call. It is our charity of the month that we're trying to support this month. You can hit the button over here on my Twitch channel and make your donation quick and easy, painless for you even. So, but if not, that's fine too. Just thought I'd try, because I don't know about you all out there watching, but I know 4 friends that had issues, and they figured today was going to be their best day, you know. Mark my words, friends, your best day hasn't happened yet. You might be in the mind that today is your best day. It doesn't get any better from here. But I will tell you this. You don't know. You don't know. You cannot know when your best day is. Give yourself a chance. This guy is all scally faced here. Scally face, does that make him a scallywag? I don't know. Maybe, right? Who can say? Looks pretty good. So the idea is the really reason I have built these Nova wolves. These are going to be Nova wolves. So I saw somebody do the wolf spear. The wolf spear scheme. I don't really want to paint white or off-white gray, and I really don't want to do like, so for instance, I'm doing space wolves like regular space wolves, but I'm using the old kits to do the old space wolves in the gray. So I figure if I'm going to do up some Primaris type Marines, the bigger models here, I thought I might try something different. So I'm going to be using the wolf spear decals on their shoulder pads, and I'm using bright orange, or Nova orange actually. I'm going to be using Nova orange. I have been using Nova orange actually, I should say, by Procryl Nova orange. I found a really nice burnt sienna spray paint at Lowe's here a few months ago. I think it was last year actually. And so I use that as my undercoat. And the Nova orange is considerably brighter. It's a little, I hate to say the word, I don't really want to call it desaturated, but it's like, so the regular orange and the Nova orange are very different. This orange is actually very close to the burnt sienna that I use as an undercoat, and I wasn't getting really great highlights or anything with this, so the Nova orange is where I wanted to be with that value. I knew I wanted to use the Nova orange, but I thought I'd try this orange first and just use the Nova orange as a highlight, but that didn't quite work the way I was hoping. So I just went with, once I put the Nova orange on, it started looking a lot better. So what I do is I undercoat it with the burnt sienna spray paint, and then I hit it with some of the regular orange, but I don't know that I necessarily have to now, because it's, get in there. So He's looking around. He's got his weapon to high port there, so that's pretty cool. We'll see how that works. He'll probably miss all of his shots because he's looking the completely wrong way. These guys are definitely got to have their heads on a swivel. That's the idea. I want them all looking different directions. I don't necessarily want them all looking the same direction as their weapon. I've got enough generic ones. And when I say generic ones, I mean I got these dudes on the single sprues. So those all kind of go the same way, but I do try to change. I did quite a few of them because the nub for the head, where the head goes, has got a little directional piece to it. So there's a little stem coming off the neck, and there's a little hole here where that stem fits in, and it's got a directional form to it. So this head is always looking off this way. But I did a few of them as is, vanilla, so to speak, right straight off the sprue. But what I have been doing is I have been cutting this nub off here and just putting the head in a different direction, kind of randomly, so much so. And then I also haven't been using the molded base. I've been using regular base. So here's the regular ones, right? Kind of boring, right? He's looking in the same direction as his weapon, which makes sense, like as you would. And so is this guy. But I went ahead and changed it out, and just the head position makes it look very different. So we went from this, right, with the sculpted base, to this with the head being affixed in the quote-unquote proper direction. And hey, YouTube, all right, Foxhole Games, you can shave it down so you can turn the head how you want. I recommend attaching head last. Yes, I do that. And so then I just did exactly as you say, they're Foxhole Games. Very much so. And then here is the base color that I spray with. So that's the burnt sienna, which is really nice. I was hoping it was going to be a little darker, but it's almost just a straight up orange, like very similar to the Monument Hobbies orange. A little bit darker, slightly redder, but the orange is so thin it really doesn't make a lot of difference. So then I just hit it with the Agrax Earth Shade or dark or strong tone, and then I go back over it with the Nova Orange, and this is the result I get. So you can see here's the shoulder pad and just the burnt sienna right now. I'm going to obviously change that color, and so that's mostly the Nova Orange that has the biggest jump in hue there, but it makes it easy to work with, at least. So that's kind of where we're going. Per Paul says Purity Seal on the right always breaks off for me. Yeah, probably. I understand. I don't really scrape that down because the mold line on that is so narrow. I really don't pay much attention to it because it's on the edge. That mold line there is actually just on the edge. So I don't really worry about it much. If it is too much, you can actually take a little bit. Now here's a pro tip, folks. Here's one of JP Got Rocket's big pro tips. So if you have a mold line that is almost, you almost can't see it, but you know it's there and it's just irritating the tarnation out of you, you can take a little bit of your plastic cement and you can go along that edge and it'll melt it down just enough where you're not actually putting any pressure on it. Same thing too is if you've got some chatter from your hobby knife, like right here, there's some chatter that was left from my, the hobby knife was kind of bouncing along there. Just hit it with a little bit of, just a little bit now, mind you, a little bit of your hobby cement, and it'll melt that down and give you a nice smooth surface. But that's obviously, like, if you had a big thick mold line, that it wouldn't work quite so well. But if it's just small, it works really good on Tyranids. So I don't have any. Do I have? So yeah. So right here, cat hair. So right here is kind of a. He's gonna be damaged. I'm gonna like do some battle damage to this guy and put some guts and junk here on him, I think. Unless I can find some bits to complete him, I don't know. So like right here, these mold lines are easy to get, right? The ones on the top. Now you can scrape down and try to scoop it out there, or use a really hot, very strong chemical cement. And this used to work really good with 10X7R, but since you can't get 10X7R anymore, we'll use what we've got. And that'll clean right up right in between those vertebrae. It'll melt it right down. So, there you go. And of course, if you've got some scraping from the knife here, again, you just clean it up and it'll smooth right out, because it turns it a little bit liquid, and liquid, as we know, the more runny the liquid is. So what would that be? Less viscous. The less viscous, or higher viscosity. Higher viscosity is flow, right? So the higher viscosity you have, the more interested in finding its own level your liquid will be. So like water will always find its own level. So similar to this, right? So this is why you always have, you can turn a bottle anyway and the water will be at the same level. So, but Foxhole Games and Per Paul, thanks for joining me tonight, even for just a little while. Appreciate it. If you happen to want to hop over to my Twitch channel and support the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, I am running the fundraiser for that until the end of the month, or until we reach $250. So if you can help, that'd be great. If you can't, that's fine. If you haven't subscribed, if you don't mind subscribing there on the YouTube, that's great. If you want to share, that's great too. Do all the things. Here's the thing. You say, well, where am I going to share it to? Who wants to see this guy just, who wants to see an OnlyHands, right? Well, here's the thing. If you can help it register with the algorithm, what you can actually do is, if you hit share, hit copy link, you don't have to put that link anywhere. You just have to copy it. It registers with the algorithm, and it'll help push the channel up, which is going to be great because I've got some videos to work on, and if we can get the get the channel bumping up a little bit, those videos will help being seen. Help be seen. So, lots of ways you can help. Lots and lots of ways. But yes, put the head on last usually. And some people. Now I'm from more of the scale modeling side of hobbying, which when I was a kid, that's all we had. Sticking together toy soldiers. It really wasn't a thing. I mean, it was a thing, but it wasn't my thing. I built cars and planes and the like. The Enterprise. I built the Enterprise one time. The big 350th model. It lasted for a while. I was surprised. And my brother, who is 6 years younger than me, somehow talked my mom into buying him the, did he have the Bird of Prey or was it the D7? I can't remember. He got the Klingon ship and he put it together. He did a really, really great job. Not bad for a 10-year-old, you know. And, of course, we didn't really have good paints back in that day. They don't like to sell spray paint to kids, as you can imagine. And so a lot of our stuff went unpainted. Thank goodness it was molded in color, right? That was the only saving grace back then. As we got a lot of our models at the local department stores, Hex, Roses. This guy's the Grenadier, so he's definitely gonna be looking in the direction that he's shooting here. Which, really, thinking about it, I probably should have put those arms together. Well, you can't. Let's see. How would that go? Well, everything's numbered. Everything has to go together a certain way nowadays, and I don't like it. You can't customize or put things in unique poses anymore. Which, when I get out the old kits, we'll start putting together things, and you'll start seeing some variations in poses and the like, I think. Actually, I don't just think, I know. So, but yep. There you go. There's a little mold line right there, but it's on his back, and I don't know that I really want to worry about it much. But because it's there and I just saw it, it will keep me up at night. I don't know about you, but I hate mold lines. Hate them. Ooh, I hate mold lines. Nothing will ruin a nice paint job faster than untamed mold lines. Now, I will say that on some of the cheap PVC figures like Bones and the WizKids figures, a lot of times I really don't go to a lot of effort to get rid of mold lines because they're very labor intensive. Extremely labor intensive to get off of those materials. But the hard plastic and the metal, anytime I'm working with that, I will usually scrape mold lines. Metal, hard plastic. Depending on this PVC, there are some PVCs that are harder coming out now that that you can clean up pretty easily. Some of them are coming out with almost they all have parting lines, but they're hiding them really well nowadays. One that I'm looking forward to seeing is One Page Rules. So if you haven't watched Goobertown Hobbies' latest video on how molds are made for PVC figures, One Page Rules has got a starter kit coming out soon, and this is one of the figures that's going to be in it. Now this is one of their, I don't know if it's resin cast or printed. I think it's a resin cast. Anyhow, the head's a little bit different. They had to modify it to actually be able to be molded. But let's see, I think these stacks are a little shorter too. So they've had to do some modifications to get this into a PVC form. But you're going to be able to get that particular model. And I'm not sponsored by One Page Rules or anything, but I like this figure. They were handing this out at Adepticon this past season. So, you know, that's what they're going to look like pretty much. But it's talking about PVC. And like I said, PVC figures sometimes don't like scraping. And I run into this at work. I work with PVC pipe. And sometimes when you go to scrape it, like when you cut, it leaves a sharp edge along where you cut. It doesn't leave a sharp edge the way, say, like a metal pipe leaves, but there is still a sharp edge. So I usually take my Craftsman, Craftsman knife, my Stanley knife, and I'll go around and I'll kind of chamfer the inside of the pipe, and I'll chamfer the outside so that it slides in the fitting better. Because there's all these little curly cues that PVC likes to leave behind after cutting it. Curly cues and a sharp edge, so. That's what I like to do, is I like to clean it up. But PVC has its challenges. But the harder PVC, like the pipes are made out of, like your conduits, like electrical or plumbing conduits are made out of, actually cleans up pretty well. But then again, we're not doing a lot of fine work, you know. Like my dad used to say, we're not building pianos, son. So you got that. So it'll be interesting to see how they hide those mold lines, if they're noticeable enough, and if it's a harder PVC, they should clean up pretty well. Go with it like that. I kind of don't like that because his face is hid behind his bolter. I kind of don't like it, but at the same time, I kind of like that he's looking in the same direction that he's shooting. So, hey, Rescued Ruckus, good to see you. Nice. We appreciate you stopping in. Appreciate it. I'm working on some more of my Primaris Space Marines, my Nova Wolf chapter, which is my homemade units. So I'm using orange. I don't know if you've seen these yet. So orange, and of course I'm using turquoise on the Aquilas. I thought that was kind of neat. So I spray them with a burnt sienna, and then I work that up to Nova Orange is my final main color, and then I got to do some highlights and the like. And he's not finished yet, but he's the sergeant for the what are going to be, these are going to be the blood claws, right? And these are going to be the gray hunters, because I'm going to be using the Space Wolves Codex. At least I guess I'm going to be using the Space Wolf Codex. So having them making everything out of Primaris kits instead of the Space Wolf kits, because I've got a lot of the old Space Wolf kits and I want to do them up correctly, and I don't want my Primaris to be mixed in with my old school Space Wolves. So, but I'm using the Wolf Spear list from White Dwarf. That's the plan. So we'll see how that works. Let's see. That's great. I look forward to seeing finished pics up on IG. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Appreciate you stopping in, Rescued Ruckus. And of course, if you haven't seen on my IG, this month we are trying to support the 988 Crisis and Suicide Lifeline, which I'm sure YouTube doesn't like me saying that word, but I also have it on good authority that the algorithm doesn't pay that close attention to it, especially if you're not monetized on YouTube, which I'm not. But if you want to help out, the donation button is active right there on my homepage. So that is to reach our goal of $250 this month. But with only this week, so tonight and Thursday, I think that's going to be about it. Maybe next Tuesday. Is next Tuesday the last Tuesday of the month? So we've got 3 more sessions to go to be able to reach that. I don't know if we're going to do it, folks. So, yeah. Are long fangs still a thing in the Codex? Per Paul wants to know. Yes, long fangs are still in the Codex. And my thing is, I want to find the old school long fangs, the metal bodied ones. So, I don't think I'm going to put long fangs in this. See, the thing about the Space Wolf Codex now is it's not necessarily a standalone codex. It's actually you got to have the Space Marine Codex to be able to make use of the Space Wolf Codex. Kind of like the old days, you know. But yeah, the long fangs are still a thing. And Rescued Ruckus, yes, 988 is a fantastic resource. I chose it because I've had friends that probably could have used it, didn't know about it, tried to go it on their own, decided today was their best day ever, and tomorrow wasn't going to be any use, you know. So you never know. If you think today is your best day ever, stick around till tomorrow. I'll bet it'll even be better. Gotta give yourself a chance. You don't know what tomorrow brings. Give yourself a chance. If you're having a hard time, talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be a fancy pants hotline. Talk to a friend. Talk to a family member. But sometimes those are hard people to talk to, because we know them, and we sometimes tend to, I know I do this, and I've never really felt like I should end myself by any means. Not everybody has weird thoughts that cross their minds, but it's when we allow them to sit, and it's like a bird lands on your head. Are you going to let it grow a nest? Well, no. Wonder what happened if I wasn't here. Rawr. Well, that's kind of, everybody's had thoughts like that, pure conjecture, but sometimes when people are not well, they're not feeling well in the head, sometimes they will say, well, if I talk to this person, I already know them and I know what they're going to say and I don't want to hear it. Because sometimes we think people are going to judge us. Well, that's the nice thing about a resource like 988. They're just there to listen. And then if they listen, sometimes they can help you out with some other things. Other people to talk to, other resources in your area. So, but yes, Longfangs are still in the Codex because they still sell tactical squads and they still sell Devastator squads. So, but they haven't made any new Longfang models yet, and the old Longfang models were just Devastator squad with a Space Wolf sprue, which was fine, but I want the really old, the old metal ones, where you can you still glue the arms to them, but see this guy, he's got the cybernetic eye. I feel like he would probably be looking in the direction he's aiming to. Alright, so these guys are going to be, they're going to count as Gray Hunters. And they all have bear heads to denote their extra special super duper veteran status. And of course, they aren't the only Gray Hunters. I've got, these are, so let's count up how many Gray Hunters, how many squads of Gray Hunters I'm going to have. Full squads of 10, because I'm crazy like that. Why would I not run them in full squads? I think you can only, I don't think the Codex actually allows you to run in half squads anymore. So there is 10. Here's another 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that leaves me with, let's see, what else? Who else have I got here? So I've got 3 more dudes left, so that's 2 squads of Gray Hunters. I've got 3 more guys over here. One of them's got an Auspex, so he's going to be a sergeant somewhere along the line there. I thought I had another shouty guy. Here's pointy shouty guy. So let's get rid of those guys. Or let's get rid of that guy right there. And so that's a pointy shouty guy. And he's got that. And let's see, that's obviously a sergeant. Here's a guy with the Auspex. So here's 4 more dudes there, which means I need to put together 6 more of the monopose. They're all monopose. So that's 2. So I'm going to have 3 squads of gray. Oh, let's see. There's that makes 5. So I need to put 5 more dudes together, 5 more bolter boys together to have 3 squads of Gray Hunters. Let's see. I don't know if I missed you saying anything, but my Twitch froze. I don't know. You might have missed me saying something. Nothing of any real import, but I don't know. One of the things I was saying, Ruckus, is down below there is the donation button. So I think I was just talking about how I'm using the regular Primaris to represent my Space Wolves, which are Nova Wolves, which are based on the Wolf Spear list. I'm going to go with a Wolf Spear list. Wolf Spear list from White Dwarf. At least I'm using the decals. You know. So, anyhow, so far that's 2 full squads and a half squad. Unfortunately, I don't believe you can run Space Wolves in half squads. You got to have 10s. And let's see, the 20. I want to run 20 of the the Blood Claws. Run 20 of those because this is Captain Titus, and he is going to be my stand-in Ragnar Blackmane. Notice I shaved off his Aquila and his knee badge because they all had Ultramarines stuff on them. So I cleared the Ultramarines. I think his backpack even had a little Ultramarine thing around his skull, so I cleared that off pretty much. So anyhow, so that's going to be cool. So he's going to be in with the Blood Claws because you can, what's it for every, I don't remember the rule right offhand, for Ragnar Blackmane and the ratio and what he does. I think he gives like a +1 or something. I don't know. I got the codex so I can have the codex, but I don't know necessarily everything about it. But yeah, anyhow. So that is a sergeant right there. I always kind of hate having the bolters with the shoulder straps on them hanging off of them. I don't really like that. It looks cluttered. So, but what I was thinking of, I saw this. He's got this little data pad here. If I could get a little 6mm dude from Old Epic, or like the 6mm or the 8mm from the new Imperialis Legions or Legions Imperialis or whatever. But I'd like to find a 6 because the 6 is a little smaller. I think it would look better. And just like put it up here and paint it like holographically. That'd be pretty cool. So, anyhow, we'll see if I can fit these in this case. And then last week, I built up some Terminators. So I've got Wolfguard Terminators, I guess. Or whatever. You know, they're just the basic Terminators. And these were the ones from the starter kit. They're the snap-together ones. I really liked them. I mean, they can only go together one way, but, you know, maybe a squad of 5, maybe 2 squads of 5, I don't know. Get the, I want to get one with the rocket launcher on the back there. So, I'm starting to run out of room in this case. This is just I'm just using it right now as I'm working on this stuff. I'm just using a tackle box case thing here. So, because there's no paint work or anything that's terribly delicate to worry about, and I'm not transporting them back and forth, so they don't need to be in any fancy foam kit. So we'll just stick them in here thusly. I think I'm actually running out of room. I think these big old Hummers that they're making these days, I think, are almost too big for putting them in kits like this. So it is what it is. It is almost 10 o'clock. We've been here since 9. It has been an hour on in the pocket dimension. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for hanging out here with me, folks, while I build my Nova Wolves. Of course, I don't think I'm gonna paint anything tonight. I may pivot here and start working on my Iron Warriors as well. because why not? Again, we do what we want to do here on this channel. I do what I want because my channel. It's my channel. And I'll build, paint, play what I want. Build, paint, play what I want. You would build, paint, play if you had your channel too. And many of you do. So if you have a channel, give yourself a shout out. Down there, just hit !SO. I think that's the thing. I think you're allowed to do that. If you're on Twitch. And if you're not on Twitch, that's fine. But consider coming over just for a minute and helping with the fundraiser for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. All right. There. I think we can squeeze that guy right in there with no ill effects. Make sure I don't have anything above the perimeter here. Cool. Cool. All right. Yeah, hey, Rescued Ruckus. Thanks for stopping in for a little while. Appreciate you being here, my friend. We'll see you on the interwebs. Have a good evening. Sleep well. Or whatever you are doing this evening. So, I'm going to take a quick break while you head out. And, yeah. So, let's see. Switch over to the bio break here. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. And we are back. All right. And we are back. All right. Yep. All right. So, what to do next? What to do next? Yeah, some Terminators. Let's get some Terminators. So, these guys have not been armed yet, as you can tell. So, let's try. Let's see what's going on here. So, these are my Iron Warriors Terminators. Terminators. Yeah, they are the Terminators. Sorry. I mean, you have to say that. It's in the rules. You have to say Terminator. So these are the 15 new ones, I think. I think it's 15 of them. 15 of the newer kit, which I do not care for the newer kit for various reasons. Reasons of which I have spoken before. Yeah. So we'll see how things go together, if they go together. Okay. So, here we go. Here's an old one. Boop. Here's sort of an old one. That's kind of in the middle of the way kit. There's a mold line to get rid of. So, anyhow, there's a work in progress. He's gonna get all washed down with black wash, and that'll tone things down that way. I think give him a little more of a steely color, you know. Let's see. Sorry, I had to step away for just a moment. Yeah. So there's that. And then dude with the chain fist. Kind of looks like a Jaws of Life, doesn't it? So there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the old styles. Plus I've got a couple of metal ones in the kit here. So the only thing, let's see, I wanted to see about changing these. You see this little ram's horn looking thing right here? That's kind of cool, but I think this is designed to go with, there's a right-handed one and a left-handed one. And so I think what I wanted to do, I think I want to get rid of those there. Let's see. So I don't have any of the, I don't think I've got any of the ones with the right-handed ones, just the left-handed ones. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to cut those off, and I found some spear points, Fantasy Battle spear points, and some other Chaos spear points. I had one right here on the table. Don't know where it got to. There it is, right there. Boom. Right. So, get rid of that. Put this one up here. Get rid of this one. Get rid of that one there. When I say get rid of, I mean I'm just moving them out of the way. So, I'm going to check and make sure that each one is not one that I want to do the work to. Just because I don't like having that one weird looking animal horn thing on there, which, I mean, it's okay. And I think if these guys were like Thousand Suns or something, because there is a right-handed version of this, so you have one this way and one this way. And I mean, it does look appropriately chaosy to have different ones, but I just don't like that. Just not a fan of that particular. I don't know. I just don't like it. So I'm going to change those out. There's one. There's two. So there's 3 of them. So 3 of them, which is great. So I'm going to get 3 spear points. Here is 1 spear point. And I'm going to chop that off. And I'm going to drill out. And we're going to glue that in. It's 10:15. This stream goes until 11 o'clock usually. Although there's nothing wrong with finishing up a little early either. Nothing wrong with finishing up a little early. So let's go ahead and put one of these that has a towel head on there. I don't know. It might be too big for that. Maybe I'll save that for a backpack. Trophy rack on a backpack. We'll see. So maybe not those. Maybe we'll see what I've got in this other case. Case of Chaos. This is my Chaos case. See if I've got anything worth using out of there. I don't know. I did see some in this bag of bits, but I don't think anybody wants to sit here while I go through a bag of bits all over again. And I didn't hold those spear points out like I should have. So I don't know what I've got here in this tub here. I do have these. This is an old Terminator trophy rack bit. There's that. Might be able to do something interesting there. I've got got lots of interesting little chaos bits here and there and everywhere, which I think will be nice for decorating some of my bases of my dreadnoughts and dreadnought bases and Imperial Knight bases. Put them down in the ground like they've been ground down in the ground. Ground them in the ground. Put them in the ground. Well, I'm already going through bits, right? So, might as well. Or I can just use whatever I've got. Let's see, on that. I don't know. Let's see what we got. Tired. That's what I got. I got tired. I got rockets, but rockets gets tired. Running out of fuel. Let's see. Well, let's go ahead and we'll clip out this one here. Boop. Boop. hoop thusly. And just go ahead and trim that up just a little bit. Clean off some of that mold line that I can see. I think I'm not going to worry too much about where it used to be connected to that other trophy rack. Just cleaning those mold lines off. Those older ones tended to have a little bit more severe mold lines. So, cut off that right there. Thusly, clean it up a little bit. Where it leaves a mark. And let's see. Get an appropriate size drill bit. Now, here's something I came up with a while back. This I think is really cool. Instead of changing out the drill bit on your pin vise all the time, go ahead and get the pin vices are cheap. You can get them for practically nothing on Amazon. Go ahead and get your pin vices and put your bit in each pin vise so that you don't have to constantly change out the bit. So you got a pin vise that's already ready to go. So, huge hobby tip right there, folks. That will help out, especially if you're like me and you like to do a little bit of the old converting. Where'd that beard hair come from? Probably from my beard. So I'll put that down in there like that, thusly, and we'll glue that right in. Now I'm not really too worried about the angle. It can be outside and kind of a weird angle, that's fine. It is chaos we're dealing with here. So the more weird and chaosy it looks, the better. So we'll just go with that. And it's a little bit loose inside that hole there that I made because I didn't have exactly the right size bit for that shaft on that spear head. But we'll just hold it there until it sets up. Won't take long. And if it's really gonna look like it's not good, we can always back it up and throw a little dab of sprue goo on there. And sprue goo is just made by taking you some sprue chunks, right? get these sprue chunks, chop it up, and then like this is an empty cement bottle right here. But if I had I would get some more of this and just dump it in there. Just dump some of these chunks of sprue in there and let them dissolve, and you get this pretty sticky goo. And it tends to be a very stretchy goo, so it's not like you can just pull it out, but you're gonna get like a little string that follows along. Don't worry about it. Just use it and go ahead and just clean that string up after you do what you need to do with it. Thought I cleaned that mold line. Alright, so we'll leave that as that is, and then we'll take this other one. It's a slightly shorter one. We'll cut this off here. Clean this up a little bit this way. I want to make these look a little bit different. I don't want them to look exactly the same. I'm going to cut that. Cut this. Square that off just a little bit. Make it look a little more mechanical. Not like somebody just was beating it on it with a hammer. So that has a flat end on it, so let's go ahead and make this also a flat end right there. We'll just make cut a little edge, put a little seam in there. Thusly, and then we'll get our let's see, that's a little bit bigger. Let's try this one. That's a little too big. Let's go ahead and just do this, and then we can always go back and waller it out with our hobby knife. Now let's see if that fits. Let's get rid of some of this mold line here. Just go ahead and waller that out just a little bit with the hobby knife, because I think my next biggest largest size drill bit is just a little too big. So we'll just go easy, just one swipe at a time. All right. Oh, I thought that was going to fit in there, but it didn't. Let's see. Seemed like it should fit right in there. Close enough. Close enough. Glue it before it moves. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. That looks good. Now, let's see. Look on this next one. This one's got a little bag on it. It's got a little goodie bag there. Probably keeps like breath mints in there or something, you know. It's a little overnight. Maybe it's a little overnight bag. Keeps an extra pair of drawers. Shaving kit. It's probably a shaving kit right there. So if you are watching on YouTube or Rumble, feel free to hop over to my Twitch page real quick and help support a organization that does some good work. That is the 988 Suicide Crisis Hotline. Lifeline, really. They like to be called the Lifeline. It used to be called a hotline, but I guess the marketing, right? Branding. So they call it the Lifeline now. Like somebody's throwing you a lifeline. Makes sense. So hop on over and throw a couple of bucks in for a group that does good work. And if you've got a friend that's feeling blue, maybe you can help them out too. Alright, there's this, there's that. Let's shave that down just a little bit just to make sure that's going to fit in there. It'll probably get broken off anyway, as these things go. Interesting. Alright, I think that'll do it. Let's go ahead and glue it up now. Alright. So we got those all fixed up. Pretty nifty. Well, it's what we got here? 25 minutes left until 11 o'clock. I think I should probably go to bed. I'm starting to feel it. I've been working some long days last couple of days. So I think I'm going to put a pin in it, folks, and work on these some more on the next one. So next stream is going to be Iron Warriors. So tune in on Thursday night at 7 o'clock for more hobby hijinks and September Shenanigans, where we try to support the 988 Crisis and Suicide Lifeline this month over on Twitch. Hopefully we'll see you there or on your chosen platform. If you like to watch on Rumble, feel free to watch there. If you like to watch on YouTube, watch there. If you like to watch on Twitch, well, by all means, watch on Twitch. Keep on watching on Twitch. But if you can, come on over, hit that donation button, and help us do some good in the world. Goodness knows there's not enough of it going around right now. So, well, let's see, where is that last one? Here's the last one. So there's 15 guys. 15 that are disarmed. Another 7 in the box with another 2 metal bods with enough arms to make 2 more. I've got 2 more metal bods I'm going to have to find some more arms for, or else they'll just all be disarmed. I guess I could use some of the old plastic ones, but I don't think they would look really good. The size is slightly different. Each iteration gets bigger and bigger, it seems. So, not too bad. They kind of hide it a little bit with imaginative posing here. So this guy's got a little bit more of a squat down. So they're pretty close, within a couple of millimeters, I think. But if I put the new Space Marine Terminators up against them, there's definitely a big difference, and there's a huge difference with my old Space Marine Terminators. So that's why I'm doing these dudes up. So you can definitely tell there's a big difference there. Not terrible, but it is what it is. So we'll just keep on going with what we got. So I think I am going to pack it in a little early tonight. So thanks for hanging out, if you were hanging out. And we'll see you again Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time here in the Pocket Dimension. So we're going to say good night to Rumble. And we're going to say good night to YouTube. As always, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. Keep on painting and keep on playing. Good night to YouTube and good night to Rumble.